Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? We are back for yet another session with our wonderful Aretha Abimbola. Darling, lovely to see you.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you for having me back. As always, it's a pleasure.
It is such a pleasure to have you, Aretha. I love you. I missed you when I was in Mykonos, and I am so back because there's been so much that has been going on. There's been so much, and I cannot wait to jump right into it. So, my sunshine, go ahead and take the floor.
I wanted to start with thank you so much, everyone, because I read the comments. I loved the last time we kind of spoke about Charlie Kirk, his passing, and something about Erica. I could see there was a lot of fire, but I felt like there's so much we didn't get to touch on. So one of the first things that I wanted to start with and address, because I saw it came up again and again in the comment section. So firstly, thank you for those that have corrected me or pointed out that actually the way apparently they met and they started dating, apparently I got it the wrong way round.
For the first time at this office, Turning Point USA office.
So we met at the office opening, the Turning Point headquarters office opening, the first one, August 2018, and I had no idea what to expect because I was coming into the office from the standpoint of they were potentially going to hire me.
And I knew of Erica, I saw Erica, and we had a very brief meeting at the office, and then I had my first conversation with Erica.
He'll tell it differently. Quickly
pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her, and now we know how that worked quite well.
It was the other way around, and Charlie actually during the interview process, so for those that don't know, apparently how they met, it was suggested and recommended to Charlie that he should work with Erica. She then came into his office for an interview, and apparently throughout the interview he had said to her, I'm not going to employ you because I want you to be my girlfriend. Now I had heard from a segment that it was the other way around, and she had said, I'm not going to work for you because I want to be your girlfriend.
So at Erica's job interview with Charlie, Erica allegedly said, you're not going to be my boss, you're going to be my boyfriend. So they began dating.
All right, I'm not going there, and I'm not willing to just arbitrarily take that on its surface and say that's exactly how it went down. But is it entirely conceivable that she did apply for a job and that she was very flirtatious with him and he liked it and she was really his type and what he was looking for? Yes, it's certainly possible. They did end up getting married and having 2 children, didn't they?
I think it's safe to assume that this mutual friend was Donald Trump because Erica was already one of his employees, so it would make sense for his team to encourage this.
That is not to say that Trump is the person who actually introduced them, but is it suggested amongst the ranks of which Trump was involved that they were introduced? Sure. I don't think that that's a stretch at all.
Beauty pageants are a well-known gateway for human trafficking. So with her being a casting director, her ministry working with the military in Romania and being asked to leave, along with her very strange behavior of capitalizing on the death of her husband, I think this should be of immense concern to us all.
What I want people to be conscious of is the optics that we are being presented with. A lot of people said, oh no, he said in the comments, they told us how it is. I just want to remind people as well, the president of the United States at one point said if he was elected, he was going to show us those Epstein files. Have we seen them yet? What I'm getting at is do not accept everything at face value. Understand that sometimes there is a narrative that people want us to have. There's a perception, okay? And for the optics, it looks far better if it is said that Charlie pursued her, because why? Men are supposed to be the aggressors. Men are supposed to be the pursuers. Now, like I said, this is not a hill I'm willing to die on because I do not know these people well enough. And this is at this point purely speculative. But what I'm saying is these are the very same people that have told us traditional values and traditional marriage. A man should be a leader. And it may be argued that in order for someone to be a leader, he would have had to have seen more of the world. But this guy, Charlie, was younger than Erica. She's spoken about getting married at a younger age, women being at home, yet this is a woman who is now worth $19 million. I just want us to be conscious of the narrative we are being told to follow versus the person that is actually presented in front of us. Sorry, I'll pause for breath now, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this now for me.
All right, for me, I stand with Aretha. And I say this only because I watched the podcast with Charlie and Eric, and it was so beautifully laid out. What Aretha is saying is that she doesn't deny the podcast. What we want to get to the bottom of is the context of that podcast is true. It's all laid out beautifully, perfect wife. And yet, look at how horrifically Charlie met his end. It's not the perfect house. It's not the perfect marriage, relationship. Everything was a facade. And we bought into it until we couldn't buy into it anymore. Because how does a young man of 31 assassinated in front of everybody? How does a young man of 31 assassinated like that if his life was so perfect and he went out to preach the word? How? We have to not be naive. We've got to dwell deeper into this in order to get the truth. What we saw that day was not an assassination from this 20-plus-year-old boy. It was not. It was not from Tyler. Tyler did not single-handedly say, I am in love with my trans boyfriend, and I have decided that because Charlie Kirk does not like this, I am going to shoot him. And so I am going to have a bionic bullet. I'm going to be very calm. I'm going to run up onto the top of a building. We're going to have people jumping all over the place. We're going to have mics going off. Nobody is standing still. I can't really even see Charlie under a tent because there's shadow there. I'm going to have this bionic bullet that's going to swim around and then hit Charlie. And then from there, I'm going to dismantle the rifle because I have that kind of time. Then I'm going to put it in my leg, in my bag. I'm going to juggle off. I'm going to go to the forest. Then I'm going to say, I think it's time for me to assemble the rifle. And then assembles the rifle because I have all the time. And then let's not forget about my mental, spiritual, emotional stance. I think I need some ice cream. So I'm going to go to go and buy some ice cream, and I'm just going to wait for them. And, my father's not going to volunteer, but, I'm going to truggle down. And yeah, that's what this is. Who are you talking to?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think we are at a time now where we have to question everything because nothing we are being presented with is making any sense. Okay. And so it's almost important to now start going back to the beginning. I think there's several things that we may have touched on. And the one that you just touched on there is we have to ask ourselves, why were we told that Tyler's father handed him in? When we have now heard to the contrary from Candace Owens, he did no such thing. These people have never come forward. We spoke about this briefly already, but he's come back and said, no, actually, I didn't. She's also come back and said on behalf of Tyler, because the machine that is thrust in front of us, the media, the information we will get, nobody's taken into consideration how this man's feeling. And is he actually suicidal? And just to kind of bring it in, and I want to bring you back in here for me to another point. A crime scene. We touched on it briefly before, but this was a crime scene. In order to convict this man with any degree of certainty, the crime scene has now been dismantled, if I'm not mistaken. Has it not been flagged?
And cemented over, leveled with cement. A crime scene that we have not even yet had day one in court to understand exactly what happened from Tyler. Nothing. It is so covered up. We have an old man who jumps up and starts to say, I did it. You did what? While there's a shootout, who is this man? And then he goes on to volunteer. oh, I have child pornography, so that he has to be taken in. This just tells me that we are swayed, we are dragged into another direction, in every other direction but the truth. I want to tell you something. You know what's curious to me, to be very, very honest?
Yes.
Why is it that it's only Candace Owens that is a dog in this fight? Why is it only Candace that from the gate she has been a Rottweiler in this, refuses to let go, and added to that has brought out receipts of which Charlie's camp could not deny? Follow the money. That's another point. Do you know PPD, the PBD podcast? I listened to the guys over there, and they were saying today, I put the clip in, of how Charlie had a fundraiser, Mar-a-Lago, in the 2022-ish era.
I will tell you firsthand, I was at an event of Turning Point USA, Mar-a-Lago. You may have gone with me, you may have not, I don't remember. Maybe we spoke about it outside, Tom. He raised $41 million that night, okay? It was an incredible night. But let me tell you when this was. This is when Biden had won, and the Republican Party, a group of it that voted for Trump, had stepped away from him and become more pro-DeSantis. This is probably 22-ish. At the end of whenever he does the last thing of the year where he's raising the most money, December, maybe it's like a, some kind of, I'm sure you would know which one this is,
December,
right?
That's their big event. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the big
Student
event.
Action Summit. Yeah.
So I'm just an outsider. I'm not an insider with Turning Point USA. I have a relationship with Charlie Kirk. Him and I have spent a lot of time together. But when I'm at that charity event, I'm sizing everybody up, and I'm just kind of seeing who's giving the money. Where people, I'd like to pledge $100,000. I'd like to pledge $500,000, and they kept the big one for the end. And we'd like to pledge, family money offices, everybody's there, $2 million, $4 million. Total was $41 million. One lady got up, and she said something, and she said, some of you here are hesitating to pledge because you're worried if Charlie is going to be behind only Trump and not DeSantis, if DeSantis were to be the lead and not Trump. And he says, here's one thing we know. Charlie's going to do the right thing. This lady is saying this. She was probably in her late 60s, early 70s. Very gentle way she spoke. But I'm in the back, and all I'm thinking about is, man, if you get into business like this where you're raising money, you have to know that these guys are given $1 million, $2 million, and they're not just asking for a better table and a better seat. They're probably going to be pressuring you to do different things as well.
$41 million that night.
A night. In a night.
That night. Wow. I say that to say that when Charlie was in the Hamptons, of which Candace Owens mentioned, he was offered $1.5 million and he turned it down. The influence of what Charlie had, he did not have to be a politician. He was bigger than the politicians themselves. And I think humbly that somewhere along the line, Charlie had a change of heart. Something went down. Something was not right with his spirit. And I've said it before, children will do that. Before children, you're reckless because you don't know. You only speak for yourself. When you have children, you speak for nations because now you understand what it is to be a parent, other children, other parents. Humanity sets in because that same humanity, you want it extended to your child.
Exactly.
Especially when you're not here.
Agreed.
PBD podcast said this, and he sat there and he was aghast because there was an older lady, 60s to 70s, who said that a lot of funders did not want to bring forth any money, but please have trust in Charlie that he will do the right thing. And this was at the Mar-a-Lago, meaning that when Charlie said, I don't want to do this, his voice, his power was more influential than the money that they were giving him. He was not going to be their puppy, their lapdog, their boy. And he said, I ain't doing it. And that was where he met his royal end.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Now, you touched on something that I'm so glad you did. There's so many nuggets and gold gems that you've said there. George Zinn. So George Zinn is the guy that stood up and started shouting. That's his name. Now, you touched on something during our last conversation, and you touched on it again around the whole child porn that he mentioned was on his phone. Mm-hmm. They've apparently said that him saying that all of a sudden means he can't be interviewed. So now we have to question. So going back to the earlier point that I raised about question everything, because I was thinking, how random, what on earth does that have to do with that? They've said that because he's been accused of that kind of nefarious activity, awful, he can't be interviewed. So all of a sudden...
So it was set up. It was exactly. So he had to deliberately say that.
Exactly.
And still be a decoy.
Exactly.
This was all set. He was absolutely paid to say that. Follow the money.
100%. Thank you. They've also said that this guy was also present during 9/11. He was present at 9/11. I will find you that clip as well and send it so you can put it in. His name has propped up at multiple major events.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know. That's right, you may sign.
So I'm ready to leave the hotel on September 11th, early that morning, and go back to Salt Lake City. And they said, come down, look in the lobby. Something's happening here. They said there's a plane that's headed towards one of the towers in New York City. And we're just glued. Everybody in the lobby is just going, wow, is this pilot error? What's going on here? You know, it was very confusing. And we see that plane go in, and we just think, wow, you know, and then I think it was, what, a 9/12 or something like that that second plane hit that tower. Immediately chaos.
It's almost like this is a paid actor. So when Candace Owens said it's like the Truman Show, this is what she meant. So much that we are finding out, they did not account for all the eyes and all the ways that we can record and pull things back up on YouTube, things that happened years and years ago. We can find footage of it, we can find clips, and it's now all coming out that this person has been tied to other events.
Do you know what just occurred to me? They thought they covered everything because they thought that if we have Erica, and if I'm wrong, heaven help me, that Erica would be the biggest issue. And Erica hasn't said anything, done anything, she's almost moved on. They did not take into account that Charlie would have people fighting for him. They did not take into account that they would have people out there who would fight for justice for Charlie in the name of Candace Owens. They did not put Candace Owens into account. They did not know that Candace would come out like this. They thought they had it in the bag. They thought and I'm sure they had a rehearsal. They ran through it. They ran through the timestamps, the players in the game, and they thought that they had it. They did not know that Charlie, behind their backs, Charlie didn't tell. You see, Candace said something. Candace said, you know what? I am sure that you can arrange my funeral. I am sure. I'm a dead girl walking. She said it. I'm a dead girl walking. And so I have gone ahead and given 8 people all of the information needed. If anything happens to me, set it off like a bomb.
Told me off record. I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real. Okay. I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair. Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that is out there that has a platform and is going through things and is scared, do the same.
Now it's just occurred to me that Charlie had private conversations with Candace of which nobody knew about. So Candace said, I am about to amuse you because PPD just talked about having a 30-minute conversation with Candace Owens behind the scenes.
Oh, really?
All of this, yes. He said it. Of which those at Turning Point had no idea. They had no idea. They looked shocked. The timestamps for the text messages, the number 2 at Turning Point said yes. Those screen grabs, I was the one that moved. He did not know. There's a whistleblower at Turning Point, and they did not take that into account either. So it's all falling apart at the seams.
100%. I'm glad you touched on that because you see, you said whistleblower, but we've also now heard speculations from Candace that there may be a whistleblower, but there's also been insinuations that someone has betrayed Charlie from within. That's what Candace also did an interview saying that someone from within his close circle, I don't want to say specifically Turning Point, but we don't know, someone from within his close circle has betrayed him, is the feeling she said that she got. One of his number 2s, or someone very close, originally, before Candace came out with the receipts, came out and said, oh, yes, no, Charlie was, he was very passionate about this cause. He was dedicated to it, and he was fully behind everything he was behind. Don't want to go into too much details. Candace then came back and produced the receipts to say that Charlie actually started backtracking, said he was removing himself. Now, in that WhatsApp group or messaging group, the person that came by and said, oh, no, everything was fine, he had no concerns, that person was also in that group. So now you can't help but wonder, who's actually behind them? Are they just mouthpieces that are being fed information and told what to say?
I tell you this, not to digress. The people that betray you are the ones that are closest to you.
Thank you.
They know your play. They know what you're doing, where you're going. They know. And because they know so much about you, because they're so close to you, you will never, ever, ever believe that it is A, B, and C, because in your mind, this is your crew, this is your team. But it's those that are closest to you that will betray you. And we all know how the 12 disciples came about, and we all know the one that betrayed Jesus Christ at the table. This is a classic case. Follow the money. There's envy here. There's power that they wanted to be handed over to them. And they are the ones that gave access to Charlie. And that's why Charlie passed away on 9/10. The person is in his camp. Follow the money. I already have my suspicions. I have seen him. And it's not a girl, it's a man. And I have seen him. And the way he's behaving lets me know it's him. What happened to me, and this was my close girlfriend, that I thought, oh my God, we're going to be this, whatever. She was the one that betrayed me. And it was a situation where I really had to come out of this delusion with tears down my eyes. I didn't want to open the letter. I didn't want to know because I wanted to believe what I believed. And so Ula opened it, and there, plain and day, it was her. It took me 3 years to get over the betrayal. Not what she did, but that it was her. I finally accepted that, Fumi, you had an idea about her.
Yes.
She only had ideas about herself from the gate. You were an opportunity that she took from the beginning. She never loved you. Maybe not even like you as much, but you were her opportunity, stepping stone to where she wanted to go. And when you decided, out of pure principles, ethics, scruples, that certain things did not sit with your spirit, she was angry and felt betrayed because you stopped the opportunity train for her.
Okay.
See, it runs deeper.
It does.
Whatever Charlie said he was not going to do, he stopped that opportunity train for him.
Yes. Okay. For the next person. You know, it's a story as old as time, unfortunately. How many of us can recount a situation where somebody you thought was in your corner was not? The story you've just recounted about your friend. And I think it all ties back to what we just said. Question everything. And I think often what's scariest and hardest to come to terms with is that you didn't see that level of betrayal coming. It's almost the shock is more in you because, you know, there's certain people, and I remember it, my husband has told me time and time, you can vouch for no one. He says that to me all the time. You can vouch for no one. And unfortunately, as this is playing out, this is what we're seeing here. Because
you cannot even vouch for certain family members. What are we talking about?
Exactly. 100%.
Certain family members will betray you in an instant.
Thank you.
And you know who they are.
Exactly.
How much more on the outside?
Exactly. Because
how did it get to Charlie? How did they know Charlie was going to show up? Charlie could have changed his mind that day. He wasn't well. He was sick. He was this. How many times have I done that? I almost didn't go to Greece. Adrian was unwell.
Yes, yes.
I almost didn't go. Who would know that I was going to go at the last minute?
It's true. Who knows your itinerary? Who knows your...
That's what I'm saying. If you really put on your thinking cap, it's not that difficult.
Exactly.
Who knew that he was going to show, at what time, what he was wearing, his mic? You know the mics that we had at the Fumi Nation. We had to switch out videographers at the last minute because there was a death in his family. So the other guy's mic wasn't working. So we had to bring out other mics. Who knows the dynamic and the optics of that behind the scenes? Who knows? When you narrow it down, it was only about 3, 4, 5 of us.
Exactly.
Who knew in his camp? Interview them first. Then circle back. I promise you, you will get answers. It wasn't this 20-year-old. This 20-year-old had no idea. He had to have been there all day. He had to be there in the early mornings. So why did we not see bits and pieces of sweet wrappers and snacks? Because he couldn't have been there all that time waiting without food. You didn't have to catch him to get the DNA. It would have been there.
Exactly. And now it brings a whole new questioning to why were they quickly taking down the equipment afterwards? I know you said, like you said, you would want to preserve your dignity, but at the same time, now there's so much individually, all these things you could say, okay, yes, they want to preserve his dignity. But that combined with the fact that the ground has now been leveled, cemented over, so many things are not making any sense. You know, they've quickly done this memorial. It felt like another political rally. Somebody else has quickly taken over a turning point. And now does it mean they're going to be able to foster and further the original agenda and they've moved Charlie out of the way? These are all questions.
Yeah.
And it is all speculation.
Yeah. That's it. And again, I come back. That's why I'm saying, why is it that it is only Candace out here in these streets, mother of 4, who got her own problems and a death warrant in a couple of countries, I'm sure. Plus, she's got our wonderful Brigitte Macron on the other side. Homegirl is full. She got a lot going on. She got a lot. She can barely put on a lipstick. But she's out here.
She said she can't leave the house. I don't know how she's leaving the house.
In these turning point streets, fighting the good fight for Charlie Kirk.
Exactly.
It's a lot. And I said to myself, Fumi, baby girl, let's look at this, with fresh eyes. Because there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of future monies. And there's a lot of power that wants to be attained and kept in certain camps. Right. And somehow, Charlie became the gorilla who would not go back into the cage. No pun intended. I'm just saying that his conscience sat with him. And this is me who started out. I know Fumi Nation, a lot of you in the comments will say that you didn't know Charlie, you should have. And I hear you now. Because for whatever reason, I couldn't let it go. I tried, but somehow I can't, because some of them in the comments will be like, Fumi, we don't really care. We black folk, we don't care. I am telling you that you should care. Because this has got nothing to do with black or white. This is a global phenomenon that affects you, affects your children and children many years to come. If we don't get this sorted out now, it starts from here. I don't agree with everything that Charlie said, please. I don't agree everything that Candace says, please. But I did agree with her when it came to the Justin Baldoni case. And somehow I am very much intrigued as to why it is only Candace Owens that is fighting the good fight for Charlie Kirk. She did not need to go to the funeral. She's doing more in her house under that cave than anybody did at the funeral.
Tucker Carlson, he has also been in Charlie's corner. However, I find it interesting that Tucker Carlson was allowed to be at the funeral, and Candace did say she was not invited. Now, you mentioned in previously, like, oh, would they not have I wonder what is the nature of hers and Erica's relationship.
Right, let me quickly say something. Can you imagine Candace Owens at the funeral? All of the press would be focused on her. Candace comes with too much. Tucker Carlson could be there, was still team. But really, let's think about it. Where have we really seen Candace Owens of late in any public space?
No, we haven't. You're right. That's exactly the point I'm making. She's too big now. She's too big, all from her basement.
Too big. And her security. It might be a double whammy, and she might just be lying in state right there at the funeral. No. It was too much. It's too dangerous. We don't have enough security. Oh God, somebody's at the door. Hold on, sugar. I'm back. That's how I see it. But go ahead, my darling. That was the only thing that I was saying, was that Candace is too big.
Because my thing is, if there's nothing nefarious going on, then the speculation wouldn't matter, would it? Because Tucker Carlson's speculating, Candace is speculating. So if she was good friends with him, and the fact that she had said that apparently he was actually beginning to circle back and think about bringing her back on the show, wasn't he?
The text messages confirmed it.
It ripped her to shreds on Twitter. And she said that. And she said, listen, I can stand on my own 2 feet. I don't need anyone to vouch for me. But it would have been nice. The fact that some of you guys in there that he was having the conversation with saw how Twitter were taking her to task and said nothing. They're saying, oh, she's crazy. She's fabricating it. She's done this. She's done that. But he was having conversations with those people in his team, bringing her back. Why were they all mute?
Okay, Aretha, this is what I'm trying to tell you. the people that were mute are also part of the betrayal to Candace.
Okay.
What happened was that they did not know Candace had the receipts. Candace held back to see who was going to stand up for her. None of them did. So she said, these are also the people that are betraying Charlie.
But
in not so many words.
What I want to ask is, because we've spoken about this before, especially as we have children, there's things out there, you've got a lot more to risk, now than when you're young, single, free, and, if you go, you go. When you don't have any kids, whatever. Is it that they have betrayed her, or are they afraid? Because she also did, on her latest video, she did a whole segment where she said, I am imploring apparently 3 people, she wouldn't mention names, that apparently Charlie had spoken to and said he feared he was going to be assassinated. Those people have all spoken to her in the background. I also believe part of the reason that Candace has all this vim, all this vigor, is because there are people talking to her behind it that are saying, go Candace, go, but they're too scared to come forward themselves. So my question to you is, do you think it's betrayal, or is it fear?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
It's a combination of both. They've got a lot more to lose because they don't have the backbone Candace has. She has enough dirt on them that they cannot easily get rid of her. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and he was not a politician. He was very much an asset to politics as a whole. He is responsible for getting Donald Trump in office single-handedly. It's a lie. It's a fact. He did not need to be a politician.
Agreed.
He did not need to be. And it has only opened light to me that nothing is straight here. And so there are a lot of people that cannot expose themselves because it's almost like a stitch runneth. You pull that, the whole zip will open.
Because like I said, when I first started and I was looking on TikTok and I was seeing little clips, I was seeing lots of Black people come up and, oh, this has nothing to do with us, we don't care, blah, 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 blah. But
you should care.
100%. And one of the reasons you should care is because someone explained, there are 2 things that have been highlighted to us here. Real power is not visible. Okay, the real powers that be are not visible, because the people we think that are leading, like you just rightly pointed out, if Charlie had that much power and that much influence to put Donald Trump in the White House, imagine how many other powers.
I raised $41 million. PPG said it at a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago in 2022. That means that they've been running this for 1.5 minutes. It's not today. This is not new news.
Exactly.
It's not. Those that are in power are quietly sitting behind, letting the money talk. And that was the problem, because the money that was supposed to talk through Charlie's mouthpiece would not do. It ties in to why Charlie met his demise.
Yes, it gives a clear motive, 100%.
Clear motive. That's the motive. You did not do what we put you there to do, so we can easily take you out.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly it. You're absolutely right. And also, I want people to realize as well, or think, Charlie was 31. Okay, so while some of us are playing checkers, they're playing chess, because they're not thinking of the leader now. This is even beyond what's happening in the White House now. They were grooming, prepping, because the people that had eyes on Charlie were white young males. Where are those white young males going to be in 20 years' time? And that is what they're focused on. So when some of us are out, oh, this doesn't concern us, this concerns your children. This concerns your children's children and what they are coming to meet.
Decisions that will be made for you.
Thank you.
Because think about it, Charlie's only 31. I'm 56. That means that he would have had another quarter of a century, 25 years, where he's really in his prime. And where would you be? You would be older with no say, and your children would not be able to have what you did not fight. You didn't fight for it, which is now. And that's why this is the way it's going to play out, and quarter of a century further down, and you're still very relatively young.
Exactly.
Because Donald Trump is how old? He's almost 80.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, almost 80.
There you go. That's 50 years.
Exactly. And look at this seed that was sown.
Almost 50 years.
Thank you. Look at the seeds that were sown when Erica, because did they not say that Erica's father was an architect for the casinos? So whilst all of us are just worrying about what's happening tomorrow, the seeds that were sown some 30 plus years ago are only beginning to bear the fruits now. So that's how we all start, need to think.
And then you can imagine what kind of trees and plants will be now planted 25 years from now. There's nothing that we can do that happened in the past, but we can make a difference now. We can make the difference if we open our eyes and in unison say, you know what, exactly what happened to this guy, because it matters to all of us. Take the black and white out of it and look at the bigger picture. That's why I'm here.
Thank you. Agreed. Exactly.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
Yes.
It's so nerve-wracking. It's so nerve-wracking because do you know what? They killed the wrong guy. They should never have done it. They should never have done. They miscalculated this. Because I know that they would love to do this to a couple of other people out here, but they dare not.
Exactly. It'd be interesting to find out when was the last assassination before Charlie Kirk, because I would love to see how time and technology has really catapulted and changed things. Because like we said, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, when that was happening, there was one view, maybe 2-3 people had a camera angle and we had to accept.
Yeah.
So
and remember, there were so many people there. Do you think, because it occurred to me, or don't you think that some of these people have been approached to say, give me your camera, I want the video there, don't publicize it? Because there were so many people there, we could have had different versions of this from different angles. And we don't have that many in comparison to how many people were there that day.
Exactly. You're absolutely, and you're 100%. Money talks. Like you said, follow the money, because a lot of people would have been silenced.
Follow the money. Follow the money. It's there.
It is 100%.
Follow the money. There you go.
Yes. Indeed.
Fumi Nation. MAGA.
Interesting times.
Thank you so much. Interesting times. Fumi Nation, drop it down in the comments. Let us know what you think. And we will be back based on your feedback. But a lot is going on. And it's just really reinforced the fact that I trust nothing. I trust no one. And I am no longer surprised about anything. That's just the way it seems to go around here these days. My beautiful Aretha, send us out.
Thank you so much again for listening. Thank you for participating. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's always a pleasure interacting with you. And thank you so much for having me, Auntie Fumi. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. The pleasure is mine. Don't forget to like, to subscribe. Follow Aretha on her Instagram, on her TikTok, on her YouTube. Please, 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 so that we can keep this alive and hot. All of my love, my darlings. Sending you all of my love. Mwah. Kisses. Bye.